Howdy, everybody. This is Leo Cloutier with Malice to It None. It's indeed a pleasure to have as our guest here today, the former manager of the world champion Pittsburgh Pirates. I'd like to welcome to our show, Danny Murtaugh. Welcome, Danny.
Well, thank you, Leo. It's always nice to be around Boston.
Well, Danny, it's nice to have you around Boston. Danny, going back to 1971, that was quite a triumph for you and the Pittsburgh Pirates in the World Series against the Baltimore Orioles.
Well, we like to think so. We consider that one of the highlights of our season over there, just because of the fact that we were so distinct an underdog. I don't believe that very few writers in the country picked us to win, and I know the whole country, although they might have been rooting for us, didn't think we had much of a chance. And any time you can come from 2 games down against a ball club like the Orioles had last year, you have to consider it quite a feat.
For your 4 20-game winners against you, that's quite a thing against you right off the start.
Yeah, I believe they did set some kind of a record there. One game, they used the whole 4 20-game winners, and, they were going all out to win.
You know, Danny, I don't think the Baltimore Orioles have recovered since then.
Well, I wouldn't say it like that. They're a good ball club. They're a sound ball club. Naturally, they're having a little trouble with the bat this year that nobody anticipated from them. But I think that you're going to see a rat race right down at the end. And personally, I think the Orioles might be a little bit strong. I seem to think that they might be the one to win this divisional championship in the East.
They could still be the club that will repeat, as you say, and probably meet your ball club, the Pittsburgh Pirates, again in the World Series, couldn't they?
Well, we don't care who we meet in the World Series. In fact, if both divisions in our league over there go the way they are, that would mean that we would meet Cincinnati, and they've been mighty rough on us all year. So therefore, our first aim right now is to win our divisional championship, and then the second aim is to get past that Cincinnati ball club. And anytime you get past them, you know you've been in a pretty good fight.
Danny, that playoff between the Reds and the Pirates as it looms at the moment could very well be better than the World Series itself.
Well, I think it's going to be quite an interesting series. 2 years ago we won our divisional championship. We all anticipated one of these slugging, drag-out affairs, and the winning club in each game only got 3 runs. So therefore you would say that you never can tell what's going to happen in the short series. You take the Cincinnati ball club and Pittsburgh, if we are lucky enough to be in against each other, I would say if you give them one man that's hot in the series, that club will win the whole thing.
Danny, I know you're traveling in the interest of the Pittsburgh Pirates ball club, but what is actually your job? I know that you were forced to retire as a manager because of your health.
Well, right now, I think a lot of folks think I'm trying to follow the Chicago White Sox for the purpose of World Series scouting, but that's not my aim right now. In our club, we go through the American League and we jot down everything about every player in the league. And now I have 4 or 5 clubs right near home what I have to follow and make a thorough report, because in the wintertime we might make some trades with the American League ball clubs. So therefore it is my object right now to rate every ball player on the clubs that are assigned to me. And it just the luck of the draw where the White Sox are fighting for the championship that I have been following them.
Danny, would you say that your 1971 World Champions is probably the greatest club you've ever managed?
Well, I had a 1960 ball club too that was mighty good. And I have never compared the two, because I felt that any time you compare a club 11 years later with a ball club that was your first championship winner, something's going to change in the 10 years by comparison. So I would say that any time you have a ball club that can win the championship in the league you're playing in and then go on to the World Series championship, you have to say they're equally as good.
In that 1960 World Series against the New York Yankees, that Mazeroski home run, which clinched everything, must have been a tremendous thrill.
Well, it sure was. First of all, because it was our first pennant in 35 years. Second of all, because the climatic way it finished. We finished at home, too, which made it a tremendous boost to all the Pittsburgh fans. And I don't believe that any town has ever won a World's Championship in their hometown like Pittsburgh did in 1960 and celebrated as greatly.
You had quite a celebration last year.
We sure did.
Turned the town inside out.
Oh, yeah. We have some wonderful fans over there in Pittsburgh. We have an area there, I'd say, we call it the tri-state area, and every one of them is a Pittsburgh fan. And when we win, they're all happy, and when we lose, they just lose with us. So I would say we possibly have the most rabid fans in all of baseball.
Danny, under your tutelage or under your managership, you've had some tremendous ball players. Just to name 2. Roberto Clemente and Willie Stargell.
Oh, they're 2 great ones. I know that Roberto will eventually make the Hall of Fame, But you left out quite a ball player, and a fellow named Mazeroski.
That's right.
It wouldn't surprise me one bit to see Maz enter the Hall of Fame also. I know when you have managed as long as I have, you just can't narrow your outstanding players down to 2 or 3, because every club, they have a character of its own, and every club has some outstanding ball players. I know that Clemente and Maz and Stargell have gotten tremendous amount of publicity, but we've had some players that were just quite as good as they were also, and they have gone in less publicity because they weren't fortunate enough to have the winning ball clubs when they were playing.
Danny, you also have a young New Englander on your ball club who's carved quite a niche for himself in baseball, a fellow by the name of Richie Hebner.
Well, we're quite fond of Richie over there. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me someday to see him lead the National League in hitting. The boy's quite a hitter, and the longer he's played, it seems like the more power he's getting. This year, he should go over the 20 home run marks for the first time, and he's hitting about 315 right now. So I would say that one of these days, I'll predict that Richie will lead our league in hitting.
That's a tremendous tribute. Danny, one more question. I know you've had countless thrills as a manager, and the 60 World Series and the 72 or 71 rather. What is probably the greatest thrill you have enjoyed in baseball?
Well, I would say manager-wise, a lot of folks expect me to say winning the pennant in 60 or 71, but I would have to say my first year managing in 1958, because I took over a ball club that had finished 8th for about 6 or 7 straight years. And we finished second in 1958, and we gave the Milwaukee club a battle right down to the last week of the season. And to me, individually, that was the greatest thrill I did have in baseball.
That must have been something. Danny, I certainly want to thank you for this interview, and I want to wish you and the Pittsburgh Pirates not only that divisional championship and that pennant, but also that World Series championship.
Well, thank you, Leo. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Danny. This was an interview with Danny Murtaugh, who managed the Pittsburgh Pirates to the World Championship last year over the Baltimore Orioles. This brings us to the end of with Malice to an end for today. Until tomorrow at this same time, this is Leo Cloutier from Fenway Park. Good day.
Brought to you by PosterFix. At PosterFix, we bring your vintage posters back to life. To learn more about Leo Cloutier's sports world, visit leocloutier.com.